Nations are always constantly in some form of revolution. For every little step they make towards the development of their country and its political well-being is a micro evolution that can give a bigger picture. In modern time, we've not found it more profound than with China, when in 1978, Deng Xiaoping took over leadership of the People's Republic of China, collecting authority and power upon the death of the founder of that new revolution, Mao Zedong, who died 2 years earlier in 1976. Nigeria, as we go through 2019, is somewhat at that critical road. And the issues must be laid bare for all Nigerians to interrogate. We will not become a nation that can be great and do great exploits if we insist that every election year it will be business as usual. And therefore, I plead with you all, Nigerians, members of our party, the delegates, the influencers, all men of goodwill, the governors, that as we go towards the primaries to select a candidate among the numerous aspirants that want to lead the onslaught and carry the flag and lead the People's Democratic Party into an election next year, we must know that we must do the most responsible thing available. For with that decision, we will either commence a realistic chance at winning the election, or in the minimum, at surfacing the issues in such a distinguishing way that the people of Nigeria and the world community can take an informed opinion and then take a decision as to whether they want to stay on the left or they want to stay on the right. Yes, it's been quite an interesting journey so far. Candidates have gone across the country, each and every one of them trying to approach these issues the best way they know. But one candidate, more than all others, has approached it from an issue-based, planned program that everybody now knows are the issues for determination in 2019. One of the issues that got thrown up and now everybody is accepting as their issue is the restructuring argument. The argument about restructuring is so compelling that you will have to say bravo to Atiku Abubakar for blazing the trail and pushing forward that argument. For within that argument of restructuring, you're going to be able to give the north of Nigeria the best of its capability at using the solar energy and wind energy to power itself. You're going to give the north of Nigeria the vision that it can do whatever it is that Dubai is doing because they have similar land and similar culture and similar religious beliefs, and they have the population. You're going to be giving to the middle belt of Nigeria that whatever can make Israel become a food basket with self-sufficiency in all things, that it's also possible there if they embrace technology and they embrace peace and they are given the opportunity to run their life the way they want. You're going to be telling the far end of Nigeria that indeed a new dawn beckons. You're going to be telling the southeastern part of Nigeria that if Malaysia and Indonesia can work with the creative energy of their people, using their energy in manufacturing to become such a giant, that is also possible from the southeastern part of Nigeria. You're going to be saying to the South-South that enough of this wallow and pity party. Nations that have oil have also been able to create extractive industries around the areas, and they're able to do so much more because they bring a lot of value onto the petrochemical value chain, and that will transform the way life is. Of course, you are going to be saying to the southwestern part of Nigeria, yes, the vision of your founding fathers, Obafemi Awolowo, that you can be an egalitarian society run on the rule of law, inclusiveness, and progressive ideas will give you an opportunity to begin to see yourself either like Canada, if you want, or some of the other countries that are doing very well on human capital. All of this is tied together in the vision for Atiku Abubakar. Remember, delegates, we may assume all we want, but the responsibility of voting in an electorate college system to pick a candidate for the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria is all in your hands. The delegates are made up of men of great value, former presidents. How can anybody manipulate you? Former governors. How can anybody manipulate you? Former and some serving senators. How can anybody manipulate you? Serving House of Rep members. How dare anybody try to manipulate you? Members of the DOT. You are the custodian of the alter ego of our party. The NWC members. Chairman of local government. Ad hoc delegates. National delegates from all of the 774 local governments of Nigeria. Members of the state working committees. Statutory delegates. It's not going to be acceptable that if anything goes wrong, you will have to take responsibilities for your actions and inactions. What do I mean? I have always wondered, why is it that when we are called upon to come and do our own duty, we are eager to look for some scapegoat that we want to blame for not doing that which we could have easily done and no one could have stopped us from doing? That's what is at stake here. We must get into the delegate election with a clear mind, asking the right question. Who has name recognition across the length and breadth of Nigeria that anywhere you mention his name, at least they know who you're talking about? If you ask me, I'll say Atiku. Who has come to the table with a plan that can connect and get Nigeria to be a great nation? He's talking about Atiku meaning jobs, that job creation will be the central policy of his government. And it's not just because job sounds nice, it's because we have a national emergency with unemployment for young people. Who has done more in terms of creating jobs within the Nigerian system in political space more than Atiku? No one. He's got more than 50,000 direct jobs, more than 250 to 300,000 indirect jobs. That's a lot of job created by his own effort. As president, he will create a whole lot more jobs. He's talking about opening up the economy. The great opportunities that created all of the housing estates and some of the wealth we see in the country today were created because of the private-public sector arrangement that he helped push between 1999 to 2007. So he's going to do more in that regard. That all the organs and all the aspects of the Nigerian country will now become opened up for private sector people, Nigerians, foreigners, and all friends of Nigeria to come in and drive the change and create the growth and open up the economy and make it more meaningful for all persons. Who has experience that has ever done that? Who has created a job, run the business, and made it successful? Atiku Abubakar. He tells you all the time, and you ought to know that yourselves, because the evidence abounds that Nigeria is so divided. We need to bring the country together now. We need to unify it. We need to stop all the killings. We need to become one people under heaven called Nigerians. Who has the greatest advantage of trying to do that more than Atiku? He's related to the Southwest. He's related to the Southeast. He's related to the South-South. He's related to the north of Nigeria. He's related to everywhere. So it's impossible for Atiku to be president of Nigeria and be parochial. How could he have done that? Trying to be parochial is going to put him at cross purpose with a section of himself. And that means that he has the ideas of how to unite the country. Atiku says, it's time for us to have a security audit. Review how we are securing our country so that on our own we can reduce the challenges of criminalities and the wastages of human life to crime. And he says to you, I have experience with more than 20 years working as a custom officer. I know the borders, the 4,000 kilometer square borders of Nigeria. I know them. I know what we need to do to strengthen it. I know how to make sure that we reduce small and light arms coming in and out of country. I know how to work with other agencies to reduce immigration that is moving in and out without being able to certify them. And he brings even a better one. He says, it is time for Nigeria to consider a multidimensional, multimodal, different approach to policing, where you can have community policing, state policing, and the federal policing, working in tandem with a framework that can show and tell how you can create it when you wish to do to secure lives and property. Over and above that, he says it is time to have Nigerians registered to a verifiable address with a verifiable biometric identity. That on its own is going to keep crime down. Look, guys, we are at a threshold of history. Just like we saw by passing the baton from Mao Zedong to Deng Xiaoping, China is now the second largest economy in the world. I dare say perhaps it's even the largest. That's how Nigeria too can flip itself and become the nation it has always wanted to be. With a leader that builds consensus, with a leader that brings everybody on board, with a leader that accommodates everybody, with a leader that listens, with a leader that knows how to build teams, with a leader that has experience. Dear delegate, the journey to 2019, indeed the journey to Nigeria's hooking up to the fourth industrial revolution is about to start. And you have a great responsibility to press the button. However you press it, once it is free, fair, and transparent, we will have to live with the consequences of whatever decision you take. Ours is to lay it bare before you, just as we have been admonished to do. Put the vision, write it down, lay it bare on the tablet, that any man who sees it may be able to run with it. And that precisely is what we have been doing. You can check out what the other aspirants are saying or doing. Some are playing politics, some are looking for godfathers, some are trying to just get in by the windows, some are looking for people to do them favors, but the vast majority of them are very, very quiet on the plan to get the job done. Nigeria, like every country in the world, is now at the point of reinvigorating and renewing itself, figuring out how to create new alliances, ensuring that its vision can carry it for a couple of years more, making sure that it can plug in a lot of its younger people into the economic chain, ensuring that it can do financial inclusion for vast majority of its people, looking at its rural area and figuring out how to make life more abundant for the people there. How do we give them water? How do we make sure that they have rural roads? How do we make sure that life is more meaningful for them? How do we make sure that we reduce the tension in the country? How do we make sure that we run a united national government? How do we make sure that we run it on a democratic principle that respects the rule of law? How do we make sure that every Nigerian matters and that crime will be called nothing else but a crime? How do we ensure that the dignity of the African man can be encapsulated in the personality of the leader who can stand in such a way that he looks at any other nation in the eye and tells them, I offer my hands of friendship to you. Nigeria offers its hands of cooperation to you, but Nigeria demands that it will engage on its own terms, under it is looking at its own circumstances and making sure that its country works for the vast majority of its own people. Delegates, the journey has started. Congratulations to those of you who made it through from the voting system to be national delegate and ad hoc delegate. It's not easy, I know. You put a lot of energy there, and thank goodness you are the ones chosen as the representative of the entire 200 million people of Nigeria from your local government. to come and take a decision on who is best able to lead the country from the party, People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, and to the leaders of the party. No one hates another. It's just that we have a duty to ensure that we do not stumble on the same stone twice. We have a duty to make sure that the entirety of Nigerians can see that our processes are improving and improving continually. We have a duty to make sure that our process is transparent. We have a duty to make sure that our process is credible. We have a duty to make sure that no one can complain about the integrity of our process. Why? For the larger members of the Nigerian society are looking at us. And election starts way before the day of the final casting of vote at the general election in February next year. It starts from what type of candidate do Nigerians tell you that they are looking for? What are the issues that bother the Nigerians and resonate with them across board? I tell you again, do your research. Take the benefit of research done by other organizations. You cannot be hearing that Nigeria is the most miserably poor country in the world and not know that to reverse that, you need somebody that understands the working of business to come and create jobs and open up the economy and bring in a new way of ensuring that business dictate is how you engage business leaders. There's no point if you are having to deal with unemployment and poverty and all you are interested in doing is making life miserable for international investors in your country. Other nations are changing fast. I already see that Ghana is cutting down on taxes to ensure that people can just invest. Ghana is cutting down on VAT to ensure that people are investing. It is only a leader who has his eyes on the ball, who has experience, who has capacity, who comes with a plan, who explains the plan, who markets the plan, who crisscrosses the nooks and crannies of Nigeria, who is a Democrat, who has always stood with what is democratic, who is tenacious, and who, above all, is very patriotic, and who is the founding father of our party. I plead with you. I wish you all well. It's time to get His Excellency, the former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, this man here, on the ballot of the PDP. For that way, you can be at least assured that the next election is going to be an equally matched straight fight between the candidates of the APC and the candidates of the PDP. And whatever the outcome may be, we can at least know that the issues that concern Nigeria would have been discussed in the election, and hopefully the PDP surely will be able to win that election. Thank you, guys. Let me say to you, we're going to be having Facebook Live daily now until next week, Tuesday. Tomorrow, we're going to have Facebook Live with Miss Booth from Nollywood, Kennywood, super diva, extremely exciting actress. She's going to be here. She's going to be talking to you, giving you her own opinions, and you'll have a few more people that I'll be unveiling one after the other. It's really been an interesting experience. Thank you for our listeners. Thank you, our party leaders. Thank you, all our supporters. Thank you, those who back us up. Thank you, those who inspire us. And thank you, God Almighty, for the opportunity to say, with Atiku, let's get Nigeria working again. Thank you. See you later.